Hey there, YouTube, is Raju with a special reaction video. Today we got 5 key moments from Tucker Carlson's interview with Putin. Let's get right into it, shall we? Hit it. This is by The Telegraph, and it's like, as I understand, most US mainstream medias don't want to show the interview, as I understand it, but they still use clips from it.
Already had a chip implanted in the human brain in the USA.
Elon Musk внедрил уже чип в мозг какого-то человека.
What do you think of that?
Ну, Маска, я думаю, что Маска остановить
Well,
невозможно.
I think there's no stopping Elon Musk. He will do as he sees fit.
Надо искать
Nevertheless,
способы.
you need to find some common ground with him, search for ways to persuade him. I think he's a smart person, I truly believe he is. So you need to reach an agreement with him because this process needs to be formalized and subjected to certain rules.
Того, что будет происходить с ним,
No, I agree with that heavily. It's like, look, I get it, but the way that, and I could be horribly wrong here, but as I understand it, the way we move through regulations, at least in the US, for the rest of the world, it's pretty much the same, is you bring out an innovative product, or you do a certain kind of service, or you try to make money a certain kind of way. And you have the government, who are met by people of either the public, of other common interests, or other people who just don't want to see you succeed, or other, they're different actors at play. Right? And they approach the government and they say, look, we can't have you making money like that. The government looks at it and says, you know what? You're right. We're going to tax you. And if you give the government an incentive to say, hey, you want to do what you do? We want to know how you're going to do it. And we're going to have to make sure that not only we get to make money out of it, but also you don't hurt people. Win-win. And you start formalizing the rules in place. There's a saying in safety in general. It's like, if you have an airplane, safety manual, it's like oftentimes people would say the safety rules are often written in blood because you often get safety rules after you have a problem or situation that comes up before having that rule in place. So what's interesting is, yes, the way you go on a tangent to say, you put a chip on someone else's brain is mad, first of all, because as with every Gen 1 or experimental product, something is bound to go wrong. So I can only imagine that you want to have rules in place before you do something really sensitive with human life. You got to be really careful on that. Yes, implanting chips on monkeys and chimps, sure, it's understood. On animals, it's fine, but you move into human beings, it's a different ballgame. It's a very different, you're trying to ask more ethical and moralic questions on should you even do that. And I think those are questions you're going to have to answer at some point. But either way, you can't really stop scientific progress. You might be able to regulate it, but it still goes. And I suppose the major downside, which I think most people can't sleep with, is if you stop him, it's only a matter of time before someone else does it. It's the situation we're in. So, better, be the enemy you know than the friend you don't trust. So, Putin's right on that.
To certain rules.
того, что будет происходить с ним.
Okay, so Putin threatens World War III. Okay, I got to see this declaration.
One of our senior United States senators from the state of New York, Chuck Schumer, said yesterday, I believe, that we have to continue to fund the Ukrainian effort or U.S. soldiers, citizens could wind up fighting there. How do you assess that?
Безусловно.
Well, if somebody has the desire to send regular troops, that would certainly bring humanity to the brink of very serious global conflict. This is obvious. Do the United States need this? What for?
Национальной территории. У вас нечем заниматься.
Thousands of miles away from your national territory.
На границе полно. Проблемы с
Don't you have anything better to do?
с государством.
You have issues on the border, issues with migration, issues with the national debt, more than $33 trillion. You have nothing better to do, so you should fight in Ukraine?
Понимая ситуацию, которая складывается.
Wouldn't it be better to negotiate with Russia, make an agreement, already understanding the situation that is developing today, realizing that Russia will fight for its interests to the end?
So I just want to make sure I'm not...
What is mad about all of this is the fact that he the way he put his point forward is, look, you want to enter this conflict that has nothing to do with you, go right ahead, but you would then be bringing the world into another global war. He's not wrong. That is true. Now, granted, obviously, the main point still remains Russia is invading Ukraine. And as a touchy, sensitive subject as it is, I'm not going to go into that. What I can say, and from what I see and what I understand is, I'm not sure if the Americans have actually tried to negotiate with Russia, or at least talk to them. It's as silly as that seems. I really do think that, hey, we kind of want to understand your interest. What is it that you really want? Let's see if we can get it another kind of way. Let's just stop the war, and let's try being good guys. Because at the end of the day, war isn't about who's winning or who's losing. Because at the end of the day, everyone loses because people die. Like that. There is no thing to be won, which is as much as people will try to glorify war. There is no winners in war. There's only losers, and yeah, I think it's really weird that the world really isn't getting the hang of that concept from the thousands of years of war, tens of thousands of years of war we've been we win at. So that really is disheartening in some way. Peace and love, people. Peace and love.
That Russia will fight for its interests to the end?
So I just want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding what you're saying. I don't think that I am. I think you're saying you want a negotiated settlement.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. So I think he's going to talk more about it. Okay.
What's happening in Ukraine?
Right. And we made it. We prepared a huge document in Istanbul that was initialed by the head of the Ukrainian delegation. He affixed his signature to some of the provisions, not to all of it. He put his signature, and then he himself said, we were ready to sign it and the war would have been over long ago, 18 months ago. However, Prime Minister Johnson came, talked us out of it, and we missed that chance.
Who blew up Nord Stream?
What? Are we just going to ignore that? What? Huh?
Johnson came, talked us out of it, and we missed that chance.
So you did try. This is, that really is fucked up. Honestly, I mean, look, I think geopolitics, and you go into more details like that, I think there's more interest than just one or two key players. There's always going to be a different, sense of forces all the way around. So if what he says is true, bro, that is it's not a good look.
Who blew up Nord Stream?
Oh.
You for sure.
Look, I get it. I get it. Okay, look, I gotta come out clean when I say it. Yes, it's the Russians. You gotta. It isn't about trust in this statement, but if what they're saying is true, I would not. It's not far off from my mind to imagine that situation, which is the CIA blew up Nord Stream. Like, that's kind of like the perfect situation to do something like that. And it is like, oh, you're at war and someone blew up a pipeline. No one's going to point fingers at the CIA. They ain't close by. So, yeah, this is...
Nord Stream.
Yeah, I can see... Again, I got to reiterate, I can see that happening. I'm not saying they did it, but if they had to do it, it's a perfect time to do it. So,
You for sure.
I was busy that day.
Nate, I like that. I was busy that day.
Do you have? I did not blow up Nord Stream. Thank you, though.
У вас лично, может быть, есть алиби. У вас лично.
You personally may have an alibi, but the CIA has no such alibi.
Do you have evidence that NATO or the CIA did it?
Yeah, that would be a good question to ask. Yes. Yeah. Are you sure?
Вы знаете,
I won't get into details, but people always say in such cases, look for someone who is interested. But in this case, we should not only look for someone who is interested, but also for someone who has capabilities.
I just got to ask you one last question.
That's fascinating to say, though. That I mean, yes. Yeah, it's valid. I think that assessment is true because, yeah, it makes sense. It's not like a general layperson can just go out there and do it. Like, the people who have to do it have to have some sort of, coordination and militaristic capability to be on site, execute what they want to execute, and then retreat or get out of there. So, without drawing attention. That takes a special kind of, get in, get out kind of strategy that I don't think a lot of localized factions would do. Because it didn't make sense that blowing up Nord Stream didn't look like something Europe would benefit from, for sure. The Russians won't benefit from it because they can't sell oil. The Europeans won't, benefit from it because they can't buy oil, which leaves only few interests on the table, which is true. And yeah, I mean, if you go by that kind of logical deduction, there's not many people on the table that would have done that.
Interested. But
I mean,
also
there are
someone
some others I can kind of see doing, but it's.
who has capabilities.
I just got
But
to
it's
ask you one
unlikely
last
to pull
question,
it off in that kind of situation. I don't think so.
and that's about someone who's very famous in the United States, probably.
These.
We're
just
going to
gonna ask
release
you-
Evan Gershwin. Okay.
One last question, and that's about
sorry, Putin
someone
was
who's
there.
very famous in the United States, probably not here, Evan Gershkovich, who's the Wall Street Journal reporter.
Мы столько сделали жестов доброй воли, что, мне кажется, мы исчерпали все лимиты.
We have done so many gestures of goodwill out of decency that I think we have run out of them.
Ни разу не ответил.
Damn.
Но
We have never seen anyone reciprocate to us in a similar manner.
что мы
However, in theory, we can say that we do not rule out that we can do that
не исключаем того, что
okay.
мы можем это
if our
сделать
partners
при
take reciprocal steps.
встречном движении со стороны нашей. Человек, о котором вы сказали, господин.
I do not rule out that the person you refer to, Mr. Gershkovich, may return to his motherland. By the end of the day, it does not make any sense to keep him in prison in Russia. We want the US Special Services to think about how they can contribute to achieving the goals our special services are pursuing.
Те проблемы,
We are ready to talk. Moreover, the talks are underway. And there have been many successful examples of these talks crowned with success.
договаривались.
Probably this is going to be crowned with success as well,
Но только надо договариваться.
but we have to come to an agreement.
Ooh, this is that is insane to think, like, because I couldn't speak much during the entire interview because I'm sorry for even breaking up, like, even talking during the interview, but it's insane because you want to listen to them talk. You really want to say, what do you mean by that? Is there something else? I think, yeah, this is a short video. I think I'm gonna just try the other one as well. I think let's get into it.
Are you worried?
Yeah, I gotta say this. I don't know if it's a repeat of this, but I think it's another 2 minutes. It's by a Telegraph again, so yeah.
That what's happening in Ukraine could lead to something much larger and much more horrible, and how motivated are you?
No, I also have to really just raise the point that this is just a madness for the fact that you have Tucker Carlson interviewing Vladimir Putin, and the entire interview is on X. Elon Musk is just losing it at this point. It's like,
Call
yes.
the U.S. government and say, let's come to terms.
Goddamn.
Так, послушайте, я уже сказал.
I already said that we did not refuse to talk. We are willing to negotiate. It is the Western side, and Ukraine is obviously a satellite state of the US. It was not us who made this decision, it was them. So let them go back on it. That is
Мы
it.
должны искать выход из этого неправильного решения.
Well,
However, they made the wrong decision, and now we have to look for a way out of the situation to correct their mistakes.
Пусть и исправляют.
They did it, so let them correct it themselves. We support this.
When was the last time you spoke to Joe Biden?
I cannot remember when I talked to him. I do not remember. We can look it up.
But you haven't spoken to him since before February of 2022.
Нет, мы не разговаривали. Но у нас есть.
No, we haven't spoken.
Кстати говоря,
Certain contacts are being maintained, though. We were
oh,
ready to.
that's an interesting way of a certain context. So it's like it's not complete like radio blackout. It's like, look, we're trying to communicate, but
sign it and the war would have been over long ago, 18 months ago. However, Prime Minister Johnson came, talked us out of it, and we missed that chance.
Jeez.
Well, you missed it, you made a mistake. Let them get back to that, that is all.
Evan Gershkovich, who's
Okay,
the
and I
Wall
think they're
Street
going
Journal.
back on Gershkovich as well. I don't think. Yeah, fair enough. I think it's the same point again. But, geez, like this is. I got to see the whole interview first of all. I got to see the whole context of every clip here, because again, if you see mainstream media clipping it out of context, I'm just going to be a bit off. But I want to see the whole interview, and I want to make my own judgment and my own assessment of the things there. So yeah. This is Roulette Wednesday, so you could have even songs or even very weird things coming up in these reactions. So yeah, this is a unique one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you want me to react to the entire interview, which is I think 2 hours long, let me know and I'll make it happen. Catch you beautiful bastards in the next one. Peace. Take care. Nice.